Hi, I'm Emma. I use something called KISS, which is Keep It Simple, Stupid, and that's for teachers and for students. I've often got to get in, get out, teach children really quickly to read and spell. Often the children who are very unmotivated, highly unmotivated, don't want to do it and certainly don't want long explanations about how to do it. They just want to be able to read and spell and get on with it. And as long as children can learn to read and spell, it is up to them what they do with it. They don't have to be lawyers, they don't even have to read for pleasure, but at least they have that choice. Now, what if you think about a word, words are simply talking in print, talking on paper. So think about this word, this is the word float. So if you think about this as talking on paper, talking in print, there's the picture for the speech sound. And I do that because I think of, if I was to take a picture of the speech sounds, take a picture of it with a speech sound camera, then that would be the picture in float. Or, oat. So we help children to see the parts in words, to see what pictures, that they're just pictures of speech sounds. There's a picture of or oat. Now we do it two ways around. So we teach them the pictures of the speech sounds. And we also teach them to hear the speech sounds in words. So if I hadn't already got that there, and we're spelling it, so there we're reading it and looking at the pictures of the speech sounds in order from left to right, we get them to hear or oat. Or oat. And then it's a case of which picture shall I put there, which picture shall I put there, which picture shall I put there, which picture shall I put there. So it is hearing the smaller parts in words, not letters, not syllables, the smaller parts in float or oat. And because and or, even though we say float, and we don't say f or oat, we say float. But even though we do that for spelling, we split these up because they're just blended. They haven't made a completely different sound. Or is just blended into float. So when we're listening for the speech sounds, or oat, and then we just choose the pictures. Children might know that one as a picture for and that one, and that one, and that one. Whatever, or oat, and that's fine, that's brilliant. All they need to do is change the sound pick, change the picture of the sound, and because we're reading and spelling as we're going along, they'll actually say, no, that's not the right one, and what have you. Just like you do when you're spelling a word and you write it 3 times, you think, oh, that looks right, and that doesn't look right. If we do it early on, it's a lot quicker and easier for children to actually see which looks right and whatever. But think of the speech sound picks approach as bringing everything all in, all the skills and concepts needed for reading and spelling, bring it all in so children can make sense of print and can also make sense of speech on paper, which is the spelling. The only time I use syllables is when we've got a long word that we've got to try and work out for spelling, not for reading, for spelling. So supposing we had happiness. I might think, right, well, that's a long word, I'm going to forget. It's like a telephone number, trying to remember, 375, whatever. You remember it in chunks. So what I would do with, what was the word I just said? Happily, I'll go happily. Then I would think happily. Happily. So in the segments I've got the chunks, but then so I'm just organising it. So I'm thinking whatever. Happily. E, let's say. And then all we've got to do is say to the child, that's fantastic. Just have a little look at this and we might look, we might get the dictionary out. I might write it for them. Happily, but I'm always thinking of speech. Happily. So even if I do it, I'm actually thinking happily. Happily. That's how we split it for speech sounds. Now remember, children who struggle often have real difficulties with hearing those speech sounds. So if you confuse it by getting them to listen for syllables, it's more information that they don't actually need until they can do happily to know it's it or e, so they can hear those speech sounds and then go to do this because it's a longer word. So I would say to them, this is the king one, this is the correct one. Now you have a look, and they would think, oh yes, brilliant, I got that one right, yay, smiley face or whatever, yay, smiley face or whatever. They'll look at that one and think, oh, I need to change that. And they might look in the speech sound cloud, if they're not sure, and they would see both pictures for the speech sound p, and say, oh, okay, well, if it's not that one, it must be this one. Happily or happily. So we say, oh, okay, it's that one. Happily. Brilliant. So then they're doing it. So it's an organised, structured way, which is what most children who struggle want, especially children with dyslexia. They want that visual, organised way to learn. Now, if you're reading a word and then people are telling you to chunk it with syllables and all the rest of it, it's actually going to confuse a lot of children. And remember, I don't want to confuse children because then they're coming and asking me for questions all the time. I don't want to confuse them. I just want them doing everything as simply as possible so we can get on. So, happily, if they're reading happily, then I want them to see it in pictures of sounds, pictures of speech sounds. So they would go hap. Now, if they can't do it all in one go, and go ap. And if they go illy, happily, that's not a word, happily, and they're thinking of speech all the time, what word could it be? Happily. You're going to do, and I might say, you're going to go and play happily? No, well, that still doesn't link with our speech, with our words. It's still not a word. It's still a word I don't know. Happily. And that's what they do. Like there's a clip where you see a little boy who's got this word, and he goes, carrot. Carrot. Because what his brain is doing is we taught him the code so his brain can change to make that into the word that he knows when he says it. This is why oral language is so important. So they can do that, sounding it out and then making sense of it. But supposing you've got a word, and if we were to look from the beginning at chunking it, first of all, how's the child going? Well, anyway, it's you can do that if you want, and there's lots of information about how to do it. I'm just saying that it's, in my experience, with children who want to be in and out and parents that want to do it as quickly and easy as possible, it's just too difficult. Let me give you this word. Now, unless you've seen lots of my clips, you probably don't know how to say this word and know what this word is by sight. So what would you do if you had to read that word? If you didn't have the skills to be able to know what those could represent, the pictures of the speech sounds, you would say absolutely no idea. Okay, so how would you tackle reading that word?
I've got no idea.
And if you see that in a book, you'd probably skip it over and ignore it. You'd probably get the gist of the meaning of it, but you would ignore it in the text. You just skip it over. But let's say, no, you've got to read it. And I make teachers read this aloud in training sessions. So what they do when they do this, especially if they don't know what the word, how to say the word, is that they use their knowledge of the code. So they go, gal, im, mo fry, mo free. And because they can remember that, they'll go back to, if not, they could go gal, galley, gallim, gallimo. And I get them to start from the beginning every time. So every time they're saying the speech, so they can hear the word if they know the word. Gallimouth. Still don't know that word. Gallimouth fry. No, still don't. Gallimo fry. No. Gallimo free. No. And they can keep doing that. Now, if they know the word, they think, oh, yes, I know that word, and they'll change it. If not, they don't. They can only decode it as far as their knowledge takes them. And this is why verbal intelligence is so important, because the more vocab, the more vocabulary knowledge we have, the more children will be able to decode and know what that word is, because they say it, whether they say it to themselves or out loud or whatever. If you don't know what this word is and you don't know how to say it, then you're still going to be going gallimaufry, gallimofree, gallimofry, gallimo. What you're going to keep doing it? No, based on your knowledge of the code, even based on like this. I mean, you're going to think it's fry or free, but like this could be a picture of E, gallimaufry, like that. It could be gallimaufry, like that. It could be like you, gallimaufry. Well, that even with our language, you can hear that that's not going to be something that's going to make sense. We do an awful lot of things to play catch up with children who we've kind of failed before because we've not taught them in the way they need to be taught. For example, yesterday there were children were reading these words really quickly and seeing how quickly they could do it. Oops. But because they haven't learnt the code, all of the code, what they've done on their piece of paper is they've gone, okay, that's the adult has told them that's the word chalet. So to remind them, they've gone shh, and they've actually done it in syllables, chalet, and they've gone like they're doing it like that, chalet. So when they're reading the words, it seems like they're reading it really, really quickly. But then I give them the piece of paper and it's just got that on it, and all of a sudden they're struggling to read them again. And that's because what we've asked them to do is look at that. But actually, what we're really doing is asking them to look at that. And if you were to look at their eyes, they would actually go chalet, and they would look at all the prompts here. Whereas what I'm saying is, let's not do that. That's that's a long way round of helping children. Let's teach them. That could be shh, as in machine. That could or a. Now that's actually French, whatever. So we'll talk about it. But basically, children need to be able to actually see that and know what it represents, not have to translate it to the one that they've learnt in school in phonics because they've only learnt that as sh, and they haven't learnt that as sh as well. Think sugar. That's the trouble with phonics. A lot of phonics programs is they don't teach children all the representations. So they might look at that and always think it's a s, and they'll go sugar. We need them to understand, we need to bring it all together. They might look at that and always think it's like cat. And it's not. And that's why we must start with speech and look at how it works on print and keep doing that for reading and spelling. Don't cut corners, and I'm talking about quick and easy teaching, but I'm doing that because I'm not cutting corners where children have to keep learning all these rules and different ways to overcome the difficulties they've had before. I would rather, to be honest, every child goes back to the SSP green level and works through so that they actually do learn the whole code. SSP is the only program in the whole world that shows children every spelling variation for every speech sound. It's the only one. And not only that, it shows them in poems, because we know phonemic awareness and phonological awareness and whatever is helped with rhymes and things. Everything I do is created to make sure that every child understands the code, and we don't have to teach them rules and whatever. They don't even have to know what a vowel is. They don't even have to know that that is a vowel, or what a long vowel or a short vowel or a hard G or whatever else. What does that mean? What's a hard G? For a child to understand that, they have to understand what we're talking about. So if you couldn't explain, if you had to go back to teach a child through a child's eyes, you would use the SSP approach. That's basically what it is. I'm teaching children as if I was a child myself and didn't understand any of the adult concepts. All I understand is how to speak, and I'm learning how to link the speech to what's in paper, because this is just talking in paper, on paper. Now, if you've only just found the SSP approach, this might help you understand the basic concepts. So don't forget how to count the speech sounds when you're spelling. And always make sure that when you're spelling you say the word, listen for the speech sounds and work out how many there are. Use your duck hand if you need to before you draw the lines, but draw the lines, one line for every speech sound, not the letter, not syllables, the line for the speech sound. Put 1, 2, 3 if it helps and work out the sound picks. Do it in that order and it'll really help your spelling. So I also want you to do it the other way around. So even if you don't know these two words, ask somebody. They'll tell you this is bright, star. So think, okay, how do I say bright? The speech sounds are b-r-ite. 4 speech sounds, b-r-ite. Because remember, even though we go bright, the b and the r are just blended. Bright, b-r-ite. That's bright. Then star, st-ar, star. So if I was to show the lines underneath where the speech sounds are, there you can see them. B-r-ite, st-ar. And I've used colours as well to show you. And I've also put the numbers underneath to show you which is the first, second, third and fourth speech sound in bright and which is the first, second and third in star. So make sure you're doing that. Anyway, carry on practicing. We're going to go through all the levels from green, purple, yellow, blue. See you soon.